Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going to completely dismantle everything you thought you knew about money. Seriously, we're looking way past the flashy cars, the luxury watches, and the massive paychecks to expose how finance actually works behind the scenes. This right here is the true blueprint for wealth, and trust me, it operates entirely differently than what you're seeing scrolling through social media.
So let me ask you a slightly counterintuitive question. Who do you think is financially stronger? The person earning $3,000 a month or the one pulling in $10,000 a month? Now, most of us would instantly point to the $10,000 earner, right? No hesitation. But I want to introduce a premise right off the bat that might just flip your entire perspective upside down. See, your salary doesn't actually tell us if you're wealthy. It literally only tells us how much money happened to pass through your hands. And there is a massive, life-altering difference between money passing through your hands and money actually staying there.
Picture this. We've got two friends, Alex and Daniel. Now, they both just landed a massive promotion and a really sweet raise at work. Alex instantly goes out, leases a flashy sports car, upgrades to this beautiful penthouse apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows, and starts picking up the tab at expensive steakhouses every single weekend. Now Daniel, he just keeps driving his slightly dented but totally reliable sedan. His day-to-day lifestyle stays roughly the exact same, and he quietly routes that entire raise directly into savings and investments where nobody can even see it. Alex is aggressively spending money to look rich, but Daniel? He's quietly doing the boring work to actually become rich. In the totally weird world of personal finance, the things that make you look wealthy and the things that make you become wealthy are almost always total opposites.
You know when someone tells you, hey, I make $100,000 a year, our absolute default reaction is to assume they've got it all figured out, like they are winning at life. But let's look at the actual math here. If that same person is spending $99,000 every single year just to keep up with that lifestyle, the cars, the clothes, the massive mortgage, they literally have zero actual financial momentum. None. They are essentially on a treadmill, running at maximum speed just to avoid falling off the back. Now compare that to someone making a much more modest $60,000 a year. But this person, they live on $40,000 and quietly, aggressively invest that difference. Who has more actual financial momentum? The second person, and it's not even close. It's by a mile. We make this huge mistake when we treat a high income as the ultimate scoreboard. Listen, income is just fuel. It's not the destination. You can pump premium fuel into a sports car all day long, but if you're pouring it into a leaky gas tank, you aren't even going to make it out of the driveway. So we have got to stop asking how much do I earn and start asking the only question that actually matters. How much of what I earn actually stays mine? And that brings us to your net worth. Think of this as the ultimate financial lie detector. It's wonderfully simple to figure out. You just take everything you own that has actual financial value, your cash, investments, property, and subtract everything you owe, like those student loans, the car notes, the credit card balances. Whatever is left over after all the dust settles, that is your net worth. It is literally the only metric that cuts through all the noise.
And this perfectly illustrates the grand illusion we fall for every single day. Look, you might see someone driving a stunning $70,000 car, but financially, they are drowning in negative net worth. They don't own the car, the bank owns them. Meanwhile, the person in the 10-year-old hatchback next to them at the stoplight, yeah, the one with the faded paint job, they might quietly have $500,000 invested. It's a surprising fact, but a lot of self-made millionaires intentionally drive older, sensible cars precisely because they understand the game. Looking rich requires spending money, while building wealth requires doing the exact opposite.
If you want to build that net worth, you have to completely rethink assets and liabilities. Don't think about the boring textbook definitions. Think of your life as a small business. Ask yourself what a certain item is actively doing to your daily cash flow. An expensive, heavily financed luxury car isn't just sitting in your driveway looking pretty. No, it's actively demanding monthly payments, expensive insurance, premium fuel, and is depreciating by the second. It is a continuous drain on your company's resources. But a simple, affordable car that gets you reliably to work, that can actually be a highly valuable asset to your daily life because it protects your cash flow and keeps your operating costs incredibly low.
So what is the ultimate drain or booster to that daily cash flow? Well, that would be interest. The fascinating and sometimes, let's be honest, terrifying thing about interest is that it works in two completely opposite directions. When you borrow money, the lender charges you for that privilege. So, when you're paying high interest on a credit card, you are quietly pulling your future income backward. You're basically paying extra just for the impatience of having something today. But on the flip side, when you earn returns on investments, your money starts to go to work for you, generating even more money without you even having to lift a finger.
When you earn interest, you unlock compound growth. And this is where it gets fun. It's exactly like planting an oak tree.
And year one, you're staring at a twig. There is no shade. You might even wonder why you bothered planting the thing in the first place. Year two, it's still just a small bush. But if you just leave it alone, let the roots dig deep, and wait a few decades, you are looking at something absolutely enormous. People often think they need to find some magical overnight miracle stock to get rich. They really don't. Ordinary, boring index funds and steady investments don't require magic. They just require the invisible, relentless force of time. Your returns generate returns, and those returns generate even more. But you simply can't rush the tree.
But while time is a massive asset, it also brings along an invisible enemy, and that is inflation. Think about it. If you take $10,000 and hide it safely under your mattress today, in 10 years, the number is exactly the same. You didn't lose a single dollar bill. But try going to the grocery store and buying the same amount of food with it. You can't. Your purchasing power has completely evaporated. A cart full of groceries that used to cost $100 suddenly cost $150. So a bigger number in your bank account doesn't automatically mean you're richer, unless that money is growing faster than the rising cost of the things you actually need to survive.
Okay, so where does debt fit into all this? You hear it labeled strictly as good or bad all the time, but really, debt is simply a tool. It's exactly like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a beautiful house, or you can use it to smash your own windows. Borrowing money to buy essential business equipment or to fund an education that literally doubles your salary, increases your earning capacity, that is building the house. But borrowing money to go on a luxury vacation or to maintain a lifestyle you can't actually afford, that is smashing your own windows. The most dangerous debt out there is the kind that tricks you into financing today's fun with tomorrow's stressful labor.
And this brings us to a nightmare scenario we all want to avoid. Suddenly losing your income while the bills just keep relentlessly coming. This is the ultimate test of your liquidity. Liquidity basically just asks, how fast can I get my hands on cash without taking a massive loss? You might own a lovely house, for example, but you can't exactly slice off the front porch and sell it in an afternoon to buy groceries, right? And selling certain investments takes time, plus you might be forced to sell when the market is down. True financial strength is about surviving a bad month without being forced into a terrible long-term decision. So that emergency fund? It isn't just dead money losing to inflation. It is a vital, necessary buffer between you and outright panic.
Speaking of avoiding nightmares, how do you protect what you've actually built? Diversification. Think of it like engineering a massive, miles-long suspension bridge. You wouldn't build the entire structure relying on one single giant cable and just cross your fingers, right? Because if that cable snaps, the whole thing goes into the river. You build it with redundancy, different supports, and various points of strength. Well, you shouldn't put all your money in one single stock either. Diversification doesn't completely eliminate the risk of a bumpy ride, but it absolutely prevents one single mistake from turning into a total financial catastrophe.
All right, let's take a step back for a second and look at the master blueprint we've just drawn. Income, spending, debt, investments, inflation, and time. These aren't just isolated, boring textbook terms. They are highly interconnected gears driving the exact same machine. Your income is the raw fuel. Your spending habits dictate exactly how much of that fuel remains. Debt acts as either an accelerator for growth or a heavy weight dragging you down. Investments are your engine for expansion. Inflation is the headwind fighting against your purchasing power. And time? Time is the runway required for all these powerful forces to actually do their work.
Once you see this machine working, you realize a pretty profound truth. Every single financial decision you make has a hidden consequence. When you buy something today, you aren't just casually swiping a card. You are actively giving up what that money could have multiplied into a decade from now. When you borrow, you are shackling a piece of your future self. But when you invest or save, you aren't just missing out on the fun today. You are actively buying yourself future flexibility. You are buying the immense power to simply say no to a bad boss, a bad living situation, or a bad deal.
Fast forward 5 years, and let's check back in on our two friends, Alex and Daniel. Remember them? In year one, Alex looked like a millionaire, and Daniel looked, well, totally average. But today, the invisible math has finally caught up with both of them. Alex is trapped. He is chained to a lifestyle he has to work exhaustingly hard just to maintain. He literally cannot afford a single misstep. Daniel, on the other hand, is breathing easy. He has the freedom to handle a massive unexpected expense, he can change careers if he wants to, or he could even take a big entrepreneurial risk. Daniel quietly bought something Alex couldn't instantly purchase on a credit card. Absolute options.
It all boils down to one undeniable truth. Wealth is the ability to control more of your future. True wealth isn't about the Italian leather seat in your car, it's not about the fancy logo on your bag, and it is certainly not about proving to total strangers at a stoplight that you're winning at life. It is simply about buying back your own time and your own freedom. It's about sleeping soundly at night, knowing your money is building an unshakable foundation for you while you are out busy living your actual life.
So the very next time a paycheck hits your bank account, I want you to just pause. Don't immediately open up Amazon and look for what you can buy today. Look at that money and ask yourself one simple question. What can this become? Because the answer to that question is the exact price of your future freedom. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.